Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Yet again, we have another bad cop, this time from, surprise, surprise, the Metropolitan Police, because it always seems to be them. This guy was found guilty. He's been jailed for 16 months. He'll do about 8, and he'll probably be dismissed from the force. And what he did was he assaulted, in a bad way, a colleague while on duty. This is the sort of behaviour that we report on time and time again within the Met. For some reason, this one force seems to be the worst. It happens in all forces, but for some reason it's the Met that seems to be always the one that causes these kind of problems. So we'll take a look at this story, see what's going on, and see what the story behind it is. And ask why, despite all the promises, the Met is still filled with police like this. Here goes. So, Met police officer is jailed for 16 months. Is that all? He'll do 8. For assaulting colleague while they were both on duty. PC Archit Sharma, got to be careful how you say that name, assaulted a colleague on December the 7th, 2020. Sharma resigned from the Met Police 4 days after his conviction on March the 6th. So he was with North Area Command, makes a change, it's normally West Area Command that produced the worst of them, and was accused of attacking his colleague on the 7th of December 2020. He was convicted of assault on the 6th of March at Wood Green Crown Court and resigned from the force 4 days later. So he's gone back then, and it's obviously been that sort of 3 months or so until sentencing. So as well as the 16-month jail term, Sharma was told he must sign on the SO register for 10 years. Is that all? I mean, anyone who goes on that register needs to be on it for the remainder of their life. Otherwise, it's pointless. He was also handed a restraining order which prevents him from contacting his victim for a decade. Oh, I see. So in 10 years' time, it'll be okay for him to go back and maybe have another go. Is that what they're saying? See, the law is an arse of its first water, isn't it? He was convicted of assaulting his colleague on convicted on March the 6th of doing this. Wood Green Crown Court also ordered Sharma to pay the victim surcharge of £156 when he was sent down today. Doesn't that kind of make her a bit of a, oh yeah, I'll do this to you. I'll do whatever I want to you, and here, have some money for it. I think that is a bit of an insult. That kind of turns them into something, doesn't it? He is the latest in a very, very long line of Metropolitan Police officers to have been convicted of these kind of offences, the DS offences. And I keep reporting on it every day. Every day there's stories. I must do 2-3 stories a week on how the police are like this. I'm fed up. I did a video yesterday complaining that I was fed up of having to do stories about the police. And this is why it's all the time. It is a never-ending river of filth, and it seems to pour straight out of New Scotland Yard. The London police are just the worst. The Metropolitan Police are just the worst, and they have this culture that allows them to get away with it. Anyway, after Scotland Yard received the allegation on December the 7th, 2000, I think they mean 2020, he was investigated and charged on July the 18th, 2021. However, he had to wait until March the 6th to appear in court. He only resigned from the force some 2 years after the initial allegation was made. And I bet he was on duty and wandering around and, mixing with people ever since that allegation. Sharma also faced a misconduct hearing where he is found to have breached standards of professional behaviour in relation to authority, respect and courtesy and discreditable conduct. Well, you don't say. The panel said Sharma would have been sacked had he not resigned in March. Oh, well, that's all right then, isn't it? He'd also been added to the barred list held by the College of Policing, meaning he will not be eligible to rejoin the police or the fire service, as well as a host of other police-related bodies. Detective Chief Superintendent Caroline Haynes, responsible for the local policing in Enfield and Haringey, said former PC Sharma's behaviour was abhorrent. His actions were a betrayal of our policing values. They don't do full vetting anymore, and they're so pleased, and I don't mean this to be in any way misconstrued, but they are often so pleased when people from minorities apply to the police that they rush them through even when there are questions. This has been found to be the case because they have quotas. They have little tick boxes that must be maintained, And sometimes things that would disbar one group will be conveniently overlooked in another group. I am not making a claim on that. I'm telling you that is a fact. And that's come out. There's been various investigations that have shown that that is the case, because they want to hit these targets, and they're not doing sort of full vetting, perhaps. Anyway, she says, "I hope that this outcome highlights how seriously we take reports of sexual offences, no matter who the perpetrator is. Following his conviction, we began proceedings for an accelerated case hearing, which has upheld the allegations of misconduct." Well, that's all very fine and pleasant after the fact, but certainly if you do full vetting beforehand, it reduces the likelihood that any police officer would do this. And another thing is, if you held the officer senior to him responsible for the actions of the men under, and you started seeing a few senior officers sitting in the dock beside them, you can guarantee there'd be a lot more, shall we say, what's the word? Discipline? There'll be a lot more discipline in the force. There'll be a lot more, I want to know what's going on as a senior officer. I'm not going to sit in my ivory tower. When they are becoming liable for what their junior officers are doing, they will get very much more hands-on. Anyway, the Independent Office for Police Conduct says a national system should be introduced after reviews into the Met's handling of 2 allegations of terrible crimes by Wayne Couzens, and Kent Police's handling of a similar allegation in 2015. Couzens would go on to kidnap R and M Sarah Everard 3 days after the Met was informed he'd allegedly indecently exposed himself in a McDonald's in Swanley. So 3 days after this had come out and the police knew about it, he went on to do that instead of being arrested, held, and whatever. There's a woman that was treated abominably and then had her life ended by an officer, and the police knew exactly what he was like. That is the problem with the police. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Anyway, I'm going to stop there and come up. It's never going to end, is it? I mean, it is constant, all the time. Yet another policeman, and 9 times out of 10, the Met. Now, I did that piece the other day, or yesterday, where I said about the inspectorate wanting teeth, wanting actual powers to be able to go in and force chief constables to change procedures, to force vetting of officers, and to ensure that any officer who's ever accused of anything is immediately taken off duties, is immediately investigated straight away, and that sort of thing, in order to try and obviate this problem and get rid of all the problem police officers. Because trust in police, they said it's hanging by a thread, and I say it's absolutely gone. There is no more trust in the police, and this is another example of why. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. Definitely leave a like, that's the one that helps. And until next time, stay safe, stay well away from policemen, and goodbye.